Raider Nation, what is good, man? I hope you guys are all having a great day out there. I'm excited, man. There's a lot to talk about. As you guys know, the Raiders just had their first game. Please, someone confirm with me if you guys can hear me. And it wasn't their first game; it was their second game. But I really want to get into it. I really want to talk about it. As you guys know, a lot has kind of happened. Um, I just want someone to confirm real quick, and then we're gonna just jump right into this. And I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to kind of talk to you guys about this game, really get into it fully. Thank you guys for confirming. David, appreciate it. And Raider fan, appreciate you as well. And appreciate the other comments coming in. Let's get into this, man. As you guys know, Javin White got hurt yesterday, and I don't think the official word is out exactly what happened. From what I last heard, he went in for some testing. And basically, we'll find out within the next 24 hours exactly what's going on. I'm sure the team already knows, right? I'm sure they've known for the last 10 plus hours. But right now, it does seem like the fears is it's going to be an ACL or an MCL. With that being said, that means he'll likely be out for the rest of the season. And here's the thing, right? The thing with Javin White is he's Corey Littleton's direct backup. But more so than just him being Corey Littleton's direct backup, he's also made a ton of plays. Like in this preseason, I would argue that Javin White has been the best linebacker we've had. And Tanner Muse isn't that far behind, right? Like Tanner Muse has had a pretty solid couple of games as well. But I would argue that right now it seems like Javin White has been one of those very consistent linebackers. And at the end of the day, we need someone who's going to back up Corey Littleton. If you guys don't know this already, Corey Littleton's role is the most important role in terms of linebackers, right? He is the hardest player to replace, right? And I know Corey Littleton did not have success in Paul Guenther's defense, but he will for the Raiders. And here's the thing, man. The Raiders need a backup for Corey Littleton, just in case something were to happen. That position is so important, and I think Javin White would have been the perfect player, man. And it's crazy because so many people have made the comment to me on Twitter saying the Raiders should potentially consider getting getting someone like Reuben Foster, right, or maybe like KJ Wright or one of these other guys, right. Either way, I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited. There's a lot that the Raiders have going on right now. But at the end of the day, Nicholas Morrow is also hurt, and we should kind of talk about that. John Gruden talked about it a little bit yesterday. Gruden talked about Nicholas Morrow, and he said that right now it's his foot, and he is, it's not looking good, right? Basically, Nicholas Morrow is also likely to be out. And I know people are saying let's get KJ Wright to replace those, but KJ Wright's a completely different position, right? KJ Wright in college played inside linebacker, but since college, he has not played inside linebacker. Even for Gus Bradley, KJ Wright was playing strong side linebacker, that quote-unquote auto role that Tanner Muse was kind of talking about. If the Raiders brought in KJ Wright, he's the direct backup to Tanner Muse, right? Or I'd just say he would be the competitor of Tanner Muse. He'd probably start over Tanner Muse. But either way, KJ Wright is not a Nicholas Morrow or a Javin White replacement. This is a completely different position. So I think the Raiders need to definitely consider that if Morrow's out for week 1, Javin White's out for week 1, who do we have left? Nick Kwiatkowski should be back this week, according to John Gruden. So Kwiatkowski will likely start if Morrow's out week 1 at middle linebacker with Corey Littleton next to him. And then who's the primary backups to those two guys? And that's the scary thing. I always felt that our depth was already very limited. It was very thin with the inside linebackers, right? Not Tanner Muse and not the strong side linebackers. That's a super easy replacement, right? But we're thin at that inside linebacker position. And the inside linebacker's okay, right? I think Max Richardson's perfectly fine to back up Kwiatkowski, but it's behind Corey Littleton, and I think that's that one position where you guys got to keep in mind, even in nickel defense, that one guy. If you guys haven't noticed what Javin White was doing, that's the one guy that's going to line up in the slot. That's the one guy that's going to cover a tight end, and I don't know what the Raiders do now, right? Someone said, Jeff Rohr TV said Max Richardson looks slow. He does, man. He looks stiff. He doesn't look that quick. he is an inside linebacker and he is a rookie. I think he'll get faster with experience. R. Vega said, KJ Wright, it's like riding a bike. Football is football. KJ Wright and Reuben Foster. Yeah, man, I would love for the Raiders to target Reuben Foster. I know, a lot of people are saying, we're probably not going to get him. But I do think that Reuben Foster is one of those guys that if the Raiders wanted to get a guy who could be a difference maker, a guy who could, let's be honest, right? The Raiders linebackers right now are not great. And I would say this, I think what the Raiders need to consider is how many playmakers do we have? Like how many guys do we have that can make a difference? How many guys right now are better than Reuben Foster, right? I would argue we don't have anyone as good as Reuben Foster. And I know Reuben Foster's been limited in the NFL. I think he's played about 16 games in the NFL, but he's been a stud, man, while he has been able to play. And Reuben Foster is also probably on his last chance, and sometimes guys get it together. When they know this is their final opportunity, they're not going to get another one. They get it together, right? Darius Philon is another example of that. Like he's gotten it together and he's having a pretty good camp with the Raiders. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens. I am concerned, man. Are you guys concerned? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We got the first super chat of the day, Aunt Six Soldier. Huge shout out to you, man. You said, "What up, Sanji? Have you gotten the All 22 film yet? If so, what has stood out and what still worries you?" So you know what's crazy is I had a busy day today, man, but I have gotten the All 22 film. Specifically, I haven't gotten both the offense and defense. I've only got the Raiders offense, which kind of sucks because I really want the defense. So I've reached out. The guy told me he'll check later on when he gets home if he has the defense. Hopefully with the defense, man. But I'll be honest, I haven't watched the film yet. Honestly, right after this video, I plan to go and watch the All 22 film. I rewatched the game a little bit earlier on today. To be honest with you, one of the things that stood out to me was the defensive line. When like Cleveland Farrell, Carl Nassib, Solomon Thomas, Solomon Thomas, I think only played like one drive, but like, when the first stringers were out there, right, the quote unquote first stringers, they kind of struggled, right? And I feel like only in the second half, when like, the Rams put their third group in and we kind of put our third group in, only then did our defensive line start firing. Yesterday we pretty much shut the Rams down, minus the last possession of the game. I think they had three possessions before the final possession, and we basically shut them down in the second half, right? They had one touchdown. That too, they converted, I believe, 2 4th downs, right, on that final drive. But yeah, I do look forward to kind of breaking that down. And I do plan to do a Nate Hobbs film study, especially if I get the All 22 for the defensive side. That's the first thing I'll do. Literally tomorrow morning, I'm going to reach out right after this video to see if the guy has the film. If he does, I will have a Nate Hobbs film tomorrow. Again, I appreciate the super chat. If you guys have questions, let me know. As you guys know, I've stated this in the past. I'm going to spend some time doing those videos, those film videos, film studies. And as you guys know, the NFL copyrights them right away because they do include All 22 film, especially for preseason. If you guys don't know this, preseason All 22 film is super difficult to get. If you want regular season All 22 film, the NFL hands that out to you. Like they will give it to you for free or for $99, but not for preseason. Preseason All 22 film, unless you know someone specifically that has a connection within the NFL, you're not going to get it. So, again, super chats, if you guys have questions, always the best way. I will always answer super chats. Marvin Lewis, thank you for the $10 super chat. Huge shout out to you. You said, first and foremost, I'm a Raider fan, but to keep it real, that second unit of D-line wasn't impressive with pressure. Look at units of the Niners versus Chargers. It's constant pressure. That's a great point. So I haven't watched the Niners and Chargers game. I know I believe the Niners beat them, right? I don't know, but I'll have to check that out. But I agree, man. Like the Raiders, their D-line was bad, man. Cleveland Farrell, you would expect him to just dominate anybody out there, and that wasn't necessarily the case. Now, he had some good plays, but you expect more. If you're the starting defensive end, like he was the starter last year for the Raiders, he's playing against second and third string tackles right now. Like you would expect Cleveland Farrell to just destroy whoever's in his path, and that's not the case. I will say that Solomon Thomas had a much better game yesterday, to be honest. I think he really stood out. That was the one guy that In my opinion, he really stood out. And to be honest, I was not a Solomon Thomas believer before the first two preseason games, but after the first two preseason games, I will say there's a spot on this roster for the guy. Like, he's still young, he's still developing. I believe this is like his third full season, technically, right? Don't quote me on that, but the Raiders' defensive line has to do better, especially going against backups. Carl Nassib, Cleveland Farrell, they didn't do it, man. And even then, like, Malcolm Koonce was getting his ass kicked, right? And I don't know if that's like the Rams have this super talented offensive line. I don't think that's the case. But they got to do better, and they did not show up last night. I was disappointed, man. I appreciate the $10 super chat. I'll probably do a film study. I think that's something to kind of think about. That's something to kind of look into. My man Docs just left a comment. Shout out to you, man. If you guys are not subscribers to Docs, check him out. DOXENT. There's his YouTube channel right there. He does a lot of great stuff, man. A lot of good stuff. Check him out. But I want to shift focus here, man. And I kind of want to get into Nate Hobbs, because that's the one comment that I've seen like 100 times already. So let's get into Nate Hobbs, man. The first thing I'm going to do when I get the film is watch Nate Hobbs. If you guys don't know this, Nate Hobbs is the Raiders slot corner. He's basically taken first string reps. And interestingly, I would say he's basically won the job at this point, right? Even though the Raiders haven't announced it yet, Nate Hobbs is the starter for the Raiders. He's played with the first string group, so he's already ranked higher on the depth chart. On top of him ranking higher, he makes plays, right? He had an interception last night, and the interception came with him playing the outside. We'll talk about that in just a second. But Nate Hobbs was in the slot. I think the first drive of the game, he beat, I forget who the blocker was, and then he tackled the Seahawks wide receiver for a loss of like 3 or 4 yards. Those are the things that Nate Hobbs is already doing as a rookie in his second ever game. Do you guys think there's a chance Nate Hobbs could get Defensive Player of the Year? Like, is there a slight chance? I might put $100 on that, man. I don't even know if that's a bet I can make, but Nate Hobbs has superstar written all over him, and maybe not superstar, but like Nate Hobbs looks legit, man. And I can't wait to go back and watch him. I watched the Seahawks all 22 film last week of Nate Hobbs. He looked fantastic, man. He doesn't look like he's a rookie. He doesn't look like he's inexperienced. He doesn't look lost or confused. He looks calm, in control. He looks like he can recognize, diagnose plays, and just get right after it. And he's shown it, man. Even last night, there was a play where they sent him on a slot blitz. He disguised it just as he did the first one against the Seahawks. Against the Seahawks, he got the sack on Geno Smith. Last night, he kind of he didn't get the sack, right? Nate Hobbs didn't get the sack on the quarterback. Bryce Perkins, I think, is the quarterback's name. The quarterback broke out of the sack, but because of the pressure, because of the fact that he was able to kind of wrap him up, almost get him down, other guys came and the quarterback kind of just threw the ball away. Those are impactful plays. Those are the type of plays where you get off on third downs, right? You're either on the field or you get off the field, right? The first time he made the tackle for a loss, it was third down. Makes the tackle for a loss, the Seahawks punt the ball. The second time, right? He comes in there off the corner, and I believe that was a third down play as well. It's an incomplete pass at the end of the day because of him. And then you look at the interception, right? The thing is he wasn't in the slot on that play. As you guys know, Damon Arnett was hurt, so Damon Arnett was out of the game. And because of that fact, because of the fact that Arnett was out of the game, the Raiders asked Nate Hobbs to play on the outside, and he was cool with it. He was asked about it during the presser, and he even stated that he practiced 2 or 3 snaps at that outside corner position. But the coaches asked him, like, can you just play it? We don't have the depth. We don't have the guys. As you guys know, Rasul Douglas made a couple of mistakes, and the Raiders kind of forced him out of the game. And then they put Nate Hobbs there. I think Douglas came back in towards like the fourth quarter. But the interception, I believe, was in the third quarter. The guy that he picked the ball off on, his name's Tutu Atwell. He's a second-round pick from Louisville this past season. That guy's going to be a good football player. I think he was one of the top 5, or he was maybe the 4th or 5th wide receiver taken in the draft. He's a playmaker, and he's had a pretty decent preseason and pretty decent camp for the Rams. And Nate Hobbs ran stride for stride with that guy, man. Second-round pick. And he picks the ball off. And I would say it was a bad throw on the quarterback. He threw it into triple coverage. And just kind of watching the play, to be honest, he had a guy wide open. Both Damon Arnett and Tyree Gillespie, who was playing in the slot next to Damon Arnett, both of those guys ran back. So I don't know what the quarterback did, what he was thinking, but he threw the ball super far. Regardless, Nate Hobbs got a pick, man. It's the first pick. I believe it's the first pick of the preseason for the Raiders. So the first pick of the season, man, it's Nate Hobbs. The Raiders have already thrown, 3 interceptions? So it's nice that we finally got our first interception of the game. And then he even had a beautiful pass breakup. There was a play in which a receiver ran a crossing pattern from right to left across the field. And Nate Hobbs was kind of like running towards the guy, and the guy had the ball in his hands, and Nate Hobbs punched it out. Those are difference-making plays, man. It only takes Nate Hobbs to do that 2 times a game, and then Jonathan Abram to do it once a game, and Trayvon Merrick to do it once a game, and Max Crosby once a game. Impactful plays like that, you only need each of your guys to do it 1 or 2 times a game. The Raiders won and made the playoffs in 2016 because Khalil Mack made multiple plays that won us the game. Like, how many times did at the end of the game, you get in there and get some sacks, he strips the ball from the quarterback, and he closes the game out. Nate Hobbs could be a closer, right? Trayvon Merrick could be a closer. Abram, Crosby, Yannick. These guys could be closers. It only takes 1 play per game from all these guys. And the Raiders defense, is top-notch. As you guys know, it's kind of disappointing. We didn't get to see our first-string guys out there. It was disappointing. I was super disappointed. Marcus Mariota was dressed up, and he was there to potentially, just in case something happened to Nathan Peterman, they would have put him in, but they didn't want him to play. And the thing is with the Raiders not putting their first string guys in, I feel like they're kind of putting themselves at a disadvantage. The Chiefs put their starters in yesterday. I'm not sure about the Niners or the Chargers, but I know the Chiefs did. I know the Patriots have done that. And I feel like, your guys are going to get hit, right? Like, for example, Richie Incognito during joint practices ended up getting hurt, right? I would rather have him go in there during joint practice and get hurt than we go into week 1 and then he gets hurt at that point. Because if a player's going to get hurt, they're going to get hurt. Let them get those reps. Let them get ready for the start of the season. Let them get ready in the preseason, because those could be the differences between winning football games or not. And I want to talk a little bit about the Richie Incognito injury, but we'll talk about it in just a second. We have 2 super chats. We'll get into the offensive line in just a second. Let's get into the super chats. JimZ05 left the $4.99 super chat. So huge shout out to you. You said offensive line looked like trash last night along with Levette. We're going to get into the offensive line in just a second. And I agree, man. It looked terrible last night. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Honestly, I was embarrassed, man. I was embarrassed. I have a cousin who's a Rams fan, and I told him, I was like, hey, man, check the Raiders offensive line out. Look at the backups. They're a good unit, right? And they sucked, man. Like, it was trash. And it wasn't like every guy sucked. It was like here or there. And again, we'll get into it. And you said Dalen Levette also sucked. I agree, man. Like, I don't know if I want Levette to be the Raiders' fifth safety, right? Because we'll probably keep 5 safeties. We'll have Abram, Joseph, Merrick. Most likely, 4th will be Gillespie, and then 5th, I think, is going to be either Roderick, Tremer, or Levette. The thing with Tremer is he was with Gus Bradley, so he's a Gus Bradley guy. And he wasn't great last night, but he did make a couple of really solid plays, in my opinion. I like Tremer, honestly. I like him more than I like Levette. Levette's young too, but Levette's not a Gus Bradley guy. If Gus Bradley is, Gus Bradley has had 100 current players in the league right now under him at one point over the last decade. And the thing is those guys are considered Gus Bradley guys. He can bring any of them in, and he doesn't. He brought in a Tremer, right? Levette's not a Gus Bradley guy, so I think ultimately Levette will probably not make the roster. Thank you for the super chat. We're going to get into the offense line in just a second. Dante Deal left the $9.99 super chat. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. You said, Sanji, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you as well, man, my man. My question for you is, what rookie do you think will make the least impact on the team? Love your videos, man. That's a great question. Which rookie will make the least impact on this team? It's a hard question at the same time. Right now, based off of the way I've kind of seen these players, I think Jimmy Morrissey probably won't have an impact for the team because I think chances are uh, he's not going to start, right? And maybe he'll make the team, maybe he won't. We're going to get into that in just a second as well. Um, so maybe it's someone like him. I think Tyree Gillespie's going to play. I think Merrick's going to play. Leatherwood's going to play. Nate Hobbs looks already like he's the best rookie we have so far. Um, Maybe Malcolm Kuntz for the sole reason I don't know how much he's going to play. He will play for sure, but I don't know how much he's going to play. And I don't know what impact Malcolm Kuntz will have, right, for the Raiders. And what other rookies do we have? Is that all our rookies? Let me know if I'm missing a rookie at all. I know there's Divine Diablo. I think Diablo will play. Diablo is actually a Corey Littleton backup. So Diablo is playing the Corey Littleton role. So we'll see what type of player Diablo is. He's practicing, I believe, now. And I don't think he played at all yesterday, but I think going forward, especially week 3 of preseason, I think Diablo's going to play. But I don't know if Diablo is necessarily better than Javin White. Obviously, White's most likely out for the season. I don't know if Diablo's going to be the guy if something were to happen to Corey Littleton. Again, I think it's very important that the Raiders have depth at whatever position it's going to be. I would say that the guys who are going to have the least impact is going to be the guys that don't play. So either Jimmy Morrissey, Malcolm Kuntz, I think will play, but I don't think he'll have that much of an impact. But I do love Kuntz, man. I think his potential is through the roof. Like more so, I think Kuntz has the most potential out of everybody. Just the way he moves his body, just how twitchy he is, how he gets off blocks. He has to still learn the game. He has to learn the position. But Kuntz looks fantastic in my opinion. But I do think it'll be Kuntz. That'll be the answer. Again, thank you for the super chat, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. Again, super chats are always the best way to guarantee to get a response from me. And it supports the channel. As you guys know, I mentioned this, and this will be the last time I mention it. The film breakdowns I make, the all 22 film studies, I spend hours making them, and the NFL demonetizes it right away. So I don't get anything out of those videos. Honestly, I should just go live every video because at least with this, even if you guys watch it later on, they still run ads. So I still make ad money from this video as well. So it almost makes sense just to go live every day, right? But I know that kind of gets tough as well, especially if it's just by myself. But let's talk about the offense line. And I have a theory that I kind of want to run by you guys, and I want to know what you guys think about this. All right. So as you guys know, Richie Incognito got hurt, right? So and just kind of follow me through this theory. Richie Incognito got hurt, and he's the Raiders' left guard. As you guys know, in week 1 against the Seahawks, Lester Cotton and John Simpson both started. John Simpson played left guard, and Lester Cotton played right guard, right? So to me, it seems like the Raiders loved Lester. And let me clarify something. I think Lester Cotton had a better game at right guard than John Simpson did at left guard. In week 1, I would have made the argument that if anything were to happen to one of our guards, Lester Cotton's the next guy up. I don't think it's John Simpson. I'm more confident in Lester Cotton than I am in John Simpson. Of course, Lester Cotton played right guard and Simpson played left guard. Richie Incognito got hurt, and he's the left guard. What are the chances, and this is just a theory, that the Raiders also felt that Lester Cotton played better than John Simpson? The Raiders also feel that Richie Incognito might not be ready for week 1. Therefore, let's see if Lester Cotton can play left guard and potentially start and be that primary backup, the third guard on this roster. What do you guys think about that? Like, is that a potential that Lester Cotton jumped John Simpson after week 1, after the week 1 preseason game against the Seahawks? I don't know, man. I think Lester Cotton had a much better game week 1. Now week 2, obviously Lester Cotton, I saw him lose twice. I gotta go back and rewatch the film. Put the all 22, the end zone angle. I gotta go back and rewatch that. I will say that just from looking at it, I did see John Simpson on the first third down of the game lose. Like I tapped tweet out and I was about to send it, and then I thought about it and I kind of deleted it. But I saw John Simpson lose that first third down rep, and Nathan Peterman got pressured. He threw it, and he kind of threw it behind the wide receiver, and it was almost intercepted. And it was almost intercepted because John Simpson almost allowed him to take a hit, Nathan Peterman to take a hit. But then Lester Cotton also gave up a sack. Now, I will say this. Lester Cotton on his sack wasn't the only guy that lost. The left tackle also lost on that same exact play. So again, it'll be interesting to kind of see. You know, Lester Cotton didn't have a great game, but I got to go back and watch every single play. You know, sometimes people will see like that one play in which a guy will allow a sack. I know the announcers kind of talked about it like, oh, it's Cotton's fault, it's his fault, his responsibility. But sometimes when you give up a sack, it doesn't mean you're having a worse game than someone else who did not give up a sack, right? It doesn't mean that one play that you gave up a sack on doesn't make up for the other 20 plays, right? You got to look at the whole entire thing in its entirety. Again, I will go back and look at the Lester Cotton versus John Simpson situation. I see what a lot of you guys are saying, you know, and again, we'll see what happens. Some of you guys are agreeing with me. Some of you are not. My Hood Loves Me 804 said, need more at this position. And I agree, man. We need more from the whole entire offensive line. Like, it's not even just one guy. Like, our tackles were trash last night. What's 77's name? I can't think of his name right now, but 77, you know, Jared Jones, 72 on the right side. I forget who 77 is. He also had a horrible game, right? So 77 also allowed Nathan Peterman to get sacked when Cotton lost, right? Cotton lost, 77 lost too. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. And I also want to talk to you guys. Omame, there it is. Thank you guys for confirming that. A couple of you guys confirmed that. Yeah, so Omame also was terrible last night. And the thing is, you know, we know that Brandon Parker is the third offensive tackle right now, with Sam Young obviously retiring. But the Raiders are going to have 4 offensive tackles. So who's the fourth guy? Because I would argue that Patrick Omame and Jared Jones-Smith are equally as terrible. Like, both guys are trash, which also makes me think, what are the chances that the Raiders only keep 3 tackles? They keep potentially, I think they'll keep 4 guards. And then what's the chances they keep like 3 centers? Because Nick Martin could technically play guard. At the same time, Denzel Good, who's a guard, could technically play tackle, right? So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's how they want to kind of go about it. But I do think they're going to keep 10 offensive linemen, right? Last season, they kept 2 offensive linemen at, you know, left tackle, guard, center, right guard, right tackle. At every single position, kept 2 guys. This year, maybe they keep 3 tackles, 4 guards, and 3 centers because of the fact that 1 guard can play tackle, 1 center can play guard, right? You got that versatility. Let's talk about Jimmy Morrissey versus Nick Martin. And I want to know what you guys think about this, man. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think between Jimmy Morrissey and Nick Martin. Who's the better player? Who do you guys feel more comfortable with? And the thing is like, before the season, I said I would feel more comfortable with Nick Martin because Jimmy Morrissey is not strong enough right now, right? You know, he'll get there, right? He's 6'4". He was, I think, like 295 to 305, around there at the when he was weighed, I think, at his pro day. But before the season started, before the preseason, before camp, I would have made the argument that, hey, Nick Martin has he started 4 seasons for the Texans. And I would have said that he's the guy. He's the guy that has to be the Raiders' backup center because he has experience. But after watching week 1, there's no questions that Jimmy Morrissey, and again, Nick Martin took, you know, he came in as a second center, so he technically played against better competition. Jimmy Morrison probably played like first, second, and third year guys that aren't going to be on the roster. But Morrissey outplayed him last week, right? And Nick Martin was fine last week. I just think Morrissey had better blocks. But this week, it was clear. Like, there's no questions about it. Jimmy Morrissey way outperformed Nick Martin. And again, I got to go and watch the film, so don't quote me word for word on every single one of these things here. But Nick Martin did allow 2 bad plays, and I think he allowed a sack as well. But there was, I think, a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, something like that. And we tried running it to the left, and Martin got blown up, man. He got blown up, and his guy, I think it was a 1-tech defensive tackle. The guy was shaded to his left, right? So, like, you know, let's say I'm right here. The guy was like about here on his shoulder pad, right? If that's clear for you guys. But the guy was right here, and that's an easy block for a center, typical zone type of blocking from a center. And he couldn't get that block made, man. And the running back lost 2 or 3 yards, and we punted the ball. Those are losing plays. And I don't want Nick Martin, again, getting blown up by a backup to come in and take on a first-string nose or Aaron Donald and get his ass kicked that much more, right? And I'm going on about the backup centers, but, you know, you guys know me. I love offensive linemen. So But I do think Jimmy Morrissey should be the second string center. Um, I said this a long time ago. If you guys don't remember, if you guys have not heard me say this, Jimmy Morrissey is a starting NFL center. I don't know if he's the starter today. I don't know when he's going to start. But one day in the future, he will be a starter. And the thing is I think it makes sense to just keep him as the primary backup day one and cut Nick Martin. I don't think Nick Martin really has a I don't think he has I don't think there's a roster spot for him, honestly. Sosa Too Real, thank you for the $2 super chat. Is it too early to say Farrell is a bust? I think it is too early. It does look like it, right? Like let's be honest, right? And being a bust doesn't mean you're a bad football player, right? So I guess I should clarify that first. Being a bust does not mean you're a bad football player. You can still be a good football player, but you're a bust for where you were selected. And Cleveland Farrell was picked over guys like Montez Sweat. He was picked over guys like Josh Allen and a couple of the guys. I can't name them on the top of my head, but even Ed Oliver, right? Like Cleveland Farrell was picked over all these guys. And the thing is these guys are better at the moment over Cleveland Farrell. At the same time, I would say this, Nate Hobbs is a Gus Bradley pick, right? Gus Bradley picked Nate Hobbs, and it's clear that Nate Hobbs is good. But let me give you guys a couple more examples. Yannick Ngakoue was not a top 10 pick. Yannick was, I think, a third-round pick, right? Or a second or third. I think it was a third-round pick. Yannick was a third-round pick picked by Gus Bradley. So Gus Bradley found this guy with the 100th pick overall. It doesn't stop there. Bobby Wagner was a second-round pick, and Gus Bradley drafted him. Gus Bradley drafted the best linebacker in football right now in the second round. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, KJ Wright. These are guys that Gus Bradley drafted. Jalen Ramsey, and I know Ramsey was the top 10 pick. Darwin James, the 15th overall pick. 16th overall pick. Gus Bradley drafted all these guys. Gus Bradley has an eye for talent. Cleveland Farrell is a Mike Mayock pick. And I wouldn't say Mike Mayock doesn't necessarily have an eye for talent because Mike Mayock did pick Max Crosby. Mike Mayock did pick or bring in Andre James. Mike Mayock did bring Alec Ingold. He did bring in Josh Jacobs and Trayvon Mullen and Cleveland Farrell, who, we're kind of iffy about. So I wouldn't say that it's Mike Mayock's fault, but for Cleveland Farrell to be the 4th overall pick, you can say he's a bust. Devin White, another guy, Devin, not Divine, Devin White, another guy that we skipped out on, right? And Jesse Rhodes is spot on, man. It's not Cleveland Farrell's fault that he was the 4th overall pick. Cleveland did nothing wrong, right? Cleveland played football, and Cleveland was a top 10 potential, right? He was a potential top 10 pick. I put a tweet out before the draft that Cleveland Farrell is a potential top 10 pick. Obviously, a lot of people were surprised because so many people wanted Josh Allen, and that kind of happens, right? I'll take responsibility for that partially, right? Before the draft, I was pushing for Devin White. I was saying the Raiders have to get Devin White. If it's not Devin White, they got to get Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the next Khalil Mack. And Josh Allen's dominant, man. He's a great football player right now. Devin White is a superstar in the making. And we took Cleveland Farrell, man. So, again, that's not his fault, though. He could still be a good football player, right? He could be a bust, but he could still be a good football player. Let's jump forward. Let's get into the next topic. We have 2 topics left. Maybe one. We'll see. We'll see if there's any other super chats, any questions that I see that we'll kind of get into. The Raiders versus Rams brawl. I kind of want to talk about it. I've looked more into it. I've seen a little bit more. I just want to give you guys my 2 or 3 minute input on the whole entire brawl. There's some images that kind of got released that kind of looked to show Cleveland Farrell swinging his helmet to a guy that had his helmet off. Now, that's what it kind of looked like. I don't know if that's what happened. It kind of looked like that guy ripped Cleveland Farrell's helmet off, and then Cleveland ripped his helmet off. And as that guy ripped Cleveland Farrell's helmet off, as he ripped it, it kind of hit him in the head. And the picture was captured at that very moment where the helmet hit his own head. So I don't know if it was Cleveland Farrell swinging a helmet. Farrell doesn't seem like he's the guy, that type of guy, right? Cleveland Farrell's the type of guy that if Cleveland Farrell makes a tackle on a running back, instead of standing over him, taunt or whatever, Cleveland Farrell's more likely to help that guy up, right? That's the type of person Cleveland Farrell is. He's more of a leader than he is that type of guy to start something, right? Or however you want to state it. But there was also a video that Docs posted to his YouTube channel. I think he found it somewhere else. I don't think he was the one that actually shot the video. But that video that was shot showed the Raiders fight. And if you guys slow it down, zoom in a little bit, you see Jonathan Abram throwing punches. And I was not surprised, man. Like, that's the thing that I'm never surprised about is if there's a scuffle, Jonathan Abram is right there in the middle of it. He's the guy that starts it. He's the guy that talks. And I love it, man. I'm so excited for the Raiders roster this year. We're so much better. The guy that I talked to at camp that covers the Raiders, he's there. He sees everything that's happening. He said when the fight happened, he didn't really see what happened. It was just kind of looked like everyone's kind of got together. But he did say that during camp, the thing he noticed is that the Raiders were punking the Rams. So many different plays, so many different times. And it's not like it's 100%, full speed, but it's pretty close, right? Like the reason why it's not 100% full speed is because there's no hitting the quarterback, there's no tackling to the ground. But I do think that the Raiders still being able to beat the Rams at scrimmage, first string versus first string, the Raiders got the better of them, right? Like that's a fact. It's 100% confirmed. There's nothing else to it. The Raiders got the better of the Rams, and the Rams are a Super Bowl contender. And the Raiders are able to stick with them and keep up with them. And even Jalen Ramsey's, there was a tweet that he responded, I think, to a picture of Unique and Derek kind of hugging or something. And he said, those boys are for real. And don't quote me that was his exact quote, but he says something to the tune that those boys over there are for real. And he was kind of talking about the team, how the team is so much better. And if you guys just look at our team, right? Like, and someone said, are you sold on Jonathan Abrams? If you guys follow this channel, you guys know I'm a huge Jonathan Abrams supporter. I'm a huge fan of Abram. And I think Abrams going to be the best player on this defense. I've stated that. Now, some people have had concerns with the fact that, Jonathan Abram, he gets penalties. At the same time, why is he out there in preseason if, he's the superstar or he's this or he's that? And I would respond in two parts, right? First and foremost, the Raiders secondary from the slot corner to, Merrick to Abram, those guys have never played with each other. So I feel like, and that's different than being an outside corner who's just playing cover three, right? When you're Merrick and when you're Abram, you have to talk to one another because Abram's not a strong safety, box safety 100% of the time. And Merrick's not a post safety 100% of the time. They switch sometimes, right? So I feel like to allow them to be 100% comfortable with each other, they allow those two guys to play. They want Merrick to be comfortable with Abram because they know Abram's going to be the guy. At the same time, Abram doesn't play the whole entire preseason. Abram plays one drive. He played one drive against the Seahawks. He played one drive against the Rams. And then outside of that, even during camp, Abram was the only guy that no one was rotating in and out with. Abram played strong safety, and that's it. Merrick, we had Levette coming in for Merrick. We had Tyree Gillespie and Carl Joseph rotating in with Merrick. No one was rotating in and out with Jonathan Abram. So I'm sold on Abram, man. But when you look at this roster, right? Think about this for a second. You have Max Crosby and Unique, both guys on the defensive line, right? And then you have a Hall of Fame football player in Gerald McCoy at the one tech defensive tackle spot. And then you have Jonathan Hankins, who Max Crosby literally said, if there's one guy who breaks out to be a all-pro player, it's going to be Jonathan Hankins. That's literally what Max Crosby told me, right? He said that if there's one player who's going to be a superstar, it's going to be Jonathan Hankins. So you just look at that defensive line, and then you look at the potential in guys like Cleveland Farrell, Malcolm Kuntz, Carl Nassib, Quentin Jefferson, Darius Philon. You look at these guys with all this potential. That's just potential. Look at the guys that are there on the field that are the four starters. Those four starters, all of them are unblockable, like flat out, right? And Hankins is not unblockable necessarily in the pass rush because he doesn't have a pass rush move, but he will bull rush anybody. There's no one that can stop Hankins from bull rushing them. And there's no way Hankins could be single blocked. Same thing with McCoy. You can't double. You have to double team Gerald McCoy. You have to double Unique or Max, right? Like these guys can bring pressure. They can stop the run. And that's just on the defensive line. You look at Nate Hobbs intercepting passes, coming off the edge and sacking quarterbacks. You look at what he's already doing in literally his second ever preseason game. And then you look at the fact that we have Casey Hayward, who's an all-pro football player, a two-time all-pro football player playing corner on one side. We all know what Trayvon Mullen has already done. We know what he's going to do for the Raiders. He's playing corner on the other side. Then you have Abram and Merrick. Look at how many good players the Raiders have on defense. And the thing is it's not just the fact that they look good on paper. They beat the shit out of the Rams. The Rams offense with Sean McVay is a top-tier offense, and they beat the shit out of them. As you guys know, they went 100%. They ran their trickery plays and all that kind of stuff because there was no recording. So it didn't matter if the Rams and Raiders kind of ran some of their plays. As you guys know, the Raiders ran the wheel routes with Kenyon Drake. And when John Gruden was asked about it after practice, he literally said, I hope you guys don't put that out there that we're running wheel routes with Kenyon Drake because we don't want people to know. He literally said that, his words. And I know he was kind of joking about it, but he's serious. Like, he wasn't just joking about it. He's making it known. Like, don't put stuff like that out there if you're a beat writer. I think the Raiders are going to be great this year, man. I really think we're going to be one of the best teams in the league this year. And I say that because our defense this year compared to last year, look at how much better it is. Like, hands down, we're a much better defense, flat out. And we're already the 10th best offense. And I would argue our offense just got better this year. I know people will say, oh, look at the offensive line. The offensive line, took a step back. I disagree, man. I don't think the offensive line has that much of an impact on a game, especially individual players. Individual players do not make an offensive line good. It's just not what it is. The Chiefs brought in all these offensive linemen. That's not going to just make their offensive line good. You have to have a good coach to coach these guys, and these guys have to play together. The 5 guys all have to play good together. Now I think the Chiefs are going to have a perfectly fine offensive line. I loved Orlando Brown Jr. In fact, I wanted him in the first round when they were coming out. I said, this guy has Hall of Fame potential, just like his father. He was one of my first film studies I ever did, Orlando Brown Jr., and the Chiefs got him. I think it was a mistake because I don't know if they've already paid him, but they will have to pay him. They're going to have to make him the highest paid tackle because they traded 2 first-round picks for him. But their center, the guy from Oklahoma, is a great center. I think that O-line is going to be better, but it's still going to come down to coaching. And I say that because even with the Raiders offensive line, just because we lost Rodney Hudson doesn't mean we can't still have a good line. Just because we lost Gabe Jackson doesn't mean Denzel Good can come in there and be a better scheme fit. Just because we lost Trent Brown or Sam Young or Brandon Parker, whoever was our right tackle last year, doesn't mean Alex Leatherwood can't produce at that level. At least provide consistency, right? At the same time, Foster Moreau is healthy, and Foster Moreau is a top 10 tight end in the league, and people will see it this year. If Darren Waller were to get hurt, Foster Moreau will pick up and just be the guy. He will dominate. John Gruden kind of talked about it a little bit, and people who are at the camp, the guy that I talked to said the guy that he feels is going to be the best player for the Raiders this year that's not known is going to be Foster Moreau. Right, Brian Edwards obviously got the hype recently over the last couple of weeks, but Foster Moreau is going to be that guy, in my opinion. And it's not even just Foster Moreau. We brought in Kenyon Drake. Our third string running back, whoever it is, Trey Regis or BJ Emmons, whoever it is, it's better than Jalen Richard, right? And again, I think just overall, we got better playmakers. Henry Ruggs is going into year 2. Henry Ruggs has been killing it, right? He's been going deep and catching touchdowns. I think the Raiders offense is going to be top 7 this year. I think the defense, if it's anywhere in the top 15, I think the Raiders are going to be a Super Bowl contending team this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I kind of went on a rant there for a second, but I really appreciate every single one of you guys, man. Over 400 people. If you guys can hit that thumbs up button, I would really, 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 really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time with another video.